high-speed business at a record pace.
Get 70 miles per gallon on this fucker. This is ship that made the castle.
Great episode because I say it's going to be a great episode.
Well, when you're feeling it,
Yeah, when we're
then
feeling
we're
it.
feeling
We're
it.
feeling it. We're calling it right now. This is the fast ones. This is
The
going to be a
fast
great episode.
ones.
So far, it's not cutting to me yet.
It
It's
doesn't-
my- oh, there we go.
there it
Yeah, welcome to the
is.
fast ones. My name is Max, and I'm here with my co-host Mike.
What's good
And
in the hood?
lots of things are good in the hood.
Good.
It's summertime.
It is. It's warm outside.
It's getting warm outside.
very warm outside.
I have 3 cars.
Yes.
And people are asking, Max, which car do you pick to drive to work? And I'm like, the one that has AC.
the one that runs.
And 2 of them don't have AC, and it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard, man.
Yeah, definitely.
It's getting too hot.
You can't have no AC in this climate.
In this climate. No, but it's too bad because sometimes you have to sacrifice AC for style,
yeah.
and you have to drive that 80s car to work.
Yes, I actually
And
just
then you get stuck in traffic in a manual in like 100-degree weather in
Yes.
an 80s car. And
Yes.
you regret
and
everything
you
you've
feel
ever
like
done
a
in your life.
man.
No, you regret everything you've ever done in
You feel.
in your life. It's
McKay
rough.
says, "Do F1 cars have AC?"
Good question. Yeah, it's 200 miles an hour.
No.
It's 200 mile an hour winds.
Yes. Yeah.
Keep
200
it-
mile an hour air.
Fans.
It's hot.
Good question.
NASCAR has AC, and so does IndyCar.
And World
have-
Endurance Championship, WEC.
Yes. Yes. So sports cars.
And do they pump it into their helmet?
Yeah. There's like a hose that comes into the top of the
It
helmet.
looks like a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
It like they should have designed it to be like the Imperial.
I feel like the
like,
NASCAR like
fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the NASCAR driver layout of like the helmet these days looks so bad.
Yeah.
And, like when they're in the car, they got like the drink tube that comes in, and they've like molded a piece that's painted in front of the helmet, and then they have like the hose that attaches to
Yeah.
the top, and I'm like, nothing about this looks sleek.
No.
Nothing about this looks cool.
Yeah.
It's like, and I feel like for some reason they look like Predator.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Well, I don't know. Not for race cars.
I'm surprised that like they don't have like the cigarette holder. Has that been outlawed?
Yeah.
Or can you opt for that?
No, but Dick
Most
Trickle
people choose-
definitely had a few puffs.
Most people opt for the drink nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, shoot.
Or Cheetos.
It would have
if
been
you're
great
Sergio Perez.
if there's old clips of like NASCAR helmets with a harmonica holder, and it's just a whole line of cigarettes that they're slowly puffing throughout the race.
And then occasionally just breaking into Neil Young.
Oh my gosh, okay, I have a surprise for you.
Oh,
So, I mean, we could keep bantering
no, let's
and making
surprise it
jokes,
up.
but no more jokes.
No more jokes.
If we make
If
one
I
more
know-
joke for the rest of the episode.
None. Rules would be broken.
Okay, I got a fun activity for us.
Oh.
This is also in help from friend of the show, Ty.
Oh, Ty, thank you.
Yeah, he helped me source these cool things.
These materials.
These materials.
Okay.
But heck yeah, we got some
Oh.
mystery Lego minifigs.
The mystery figs.
Yeah. Okay, I got a few.
I don't know which way to hold it because
We'll
Lego
put these
did a
out.
weird job of designing that.
Yeah, it's
you would
kind of an
think
interesting
that, like,
package.
This is the side, but it's
But
the
it's
side.
not. Yeah, it's this big front.
Wow, there's a
But-
lot of these.
Yeah, there's a lot of these. They're
Okay.
they're cheap. They're
Yes.
cheap. They're fun.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're getting, but you hope that all of these will be Haas.
You you hope that all 12 of these
You hope that all 12
are
will be Haas.
house.
Okay.
The house Legos.
Yeah.
So how do we want to approach this?
I don't know. I mean, do we want to do all of them? Do you want to build all of them? Will this episode just be us building minifigs?
I mean, I'm cool with that too. These are like listeners. You guys weigh in. You tell us, but I will have a lot of fun building Legos
yeah.
this episode.
I think we at least need to open up all of them and see what
Okay.
we got.
Okay.
We don't necessarily need to build them.
Okay.
The goal is, of course, to eventually own the entire collection. I
Yes.
think there's 12 cars, 11 cars.
That's where I got the number.
It's 12. Yeah, it's 12
to collect.
because it's all 10 teams, a Formula Academy car, and just like a generic F1 car.
Yes.
I think I own a Red Bull, a generic F1 car, and a Haas already. Haas was the first one I opened,
Wow.
but
That's amazing, actually.
it was amazing. I was praying to Gunter Steiner, and he answered my prayers.
And
Rest
he-
in peace, wherever you are.
We miss you.
He's probably on another podcast
probably
making
at a-
lame jokes.
Yeah, he's probably had a way worse podcast in America. I don't know what it's called, but it's super lame.
We're going to start a beef.
We are beefing.
Us.
We're beefing with a certain colored flag.
Punching way up.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
you guys have an actual team principal on your podcast.
Yeah.
We had Carlos Amesco on ours.
How many Emmys has Gunter won?
None. Count them. 0.
Here's the question, though. Do we want to do this where whatever you open, that's who you have to root for the rest of your life?
That sounds like dangerous
But
territory.
we can play like pretend.
Let me ask you, if that was the case, what would be the team that you are the most bummed that you opened?
Ooh,
Because I know the answer for me.
it's either honestly, I was gonna say Ferrari or Alpine.
Alpine.
Was it-
I would
you
be
getting
I'd be
Alpine?
gutted if this was Alpine and that would be the team I
I was
had
gonna
to
say
cheer for
kick
forever.
Sauber, but
It's
they're
gonna be
teamed
Audi. That's gonna be Audi.
and Williams is doing great.
yeah,
Haas is great.
Yeah.
Racing Bulls might be a second
It'd be
place.
like okay,
Alpine or Racing Bulls. I'm not too excited about it.
yeah.
Because Racing Bulls is just a lost child. We don't know what they're doing.
I mean,
They don't have
everyone
an
knows that
identity.
I'm a big Otmar Schaffenauer guy. So ever since they betrayed my boy,
Yeah,
can't be an Alpine
that's
fan.
true. Okay, is that the one you're picking?
I mean, it's the first one you handed me, so I feel like I got to do it.
Oh, it's like a fortune cookie. You have to be handed it.
Yeah, and I have to eat it first before I read it.
You have to eat the pieces. Yeah, let's
here
see.
we go.
Okay, yeah, let's see.
All right.
What you got.
Cut to the wide camera. Auto switch. Perfect. There it is. Okay, here we go.
What colors do you got?
It's a black car with red wheels. I don't know what that means yet. And a silver and black helmet.
If I were to guess, I think you got the generic F1 car.
Let's see. Are all the
think you-
instructions the same?
Yeah, all the instructions are the same.
Well, I mean, in color code.
It's probably generic instructions, but on the back you have a map of all the cars. And I think that gray one.
You're right. It is.
Okay.
It's a generic, but it looks like the Haas 200 races livery that they dropped today.
Yeah.
Because
it
it
does.
is the
It's
black
like
and gray
the classic
model.
gray, which is cool. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I lucked out. I
here's
can
what I
just
got.
cheer for F1 for the rest
opening
of my
this
days.
guy up, and I got oh, it's true. The prophecy, Haas.
No.
Heck yeah.
How did you get it?
Because I am the one true Haas.
You
boy.
are the true Haas boy, and
I
I,
hope
am
every other one I
so
pick
mad
tonight
right
is a
now.
Haas car.
Yeah, this is some nonsense.
Okay, so that's. I mean, do we want to open the rest and just make piles of cars?
Just make piles that are gonna be so hard. Which part does this go to?
Yeah. But like, yeah. So I already have a Haas minifig. You can have this one, Mike. I have a coworker big into F1, and he heard about the minifigs.
Okay.
He went and bought a bunch, and he got like 3 Red Bulls in like the pack. So he gave a bunch of people at work Red Bull minifigs. I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah, you're like, what?
I think this is how I'm going to get most of the cars from this collection, is that duplicates handed me from other people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just, just spread the
buying.
love kind of like your
Yeah.
coworker.
Yeah. Okay. Which one are you picking next?
I feel like I'm letting you pick.
For you?
Yeah. 'cause
Fortune
you picked-
cookie?
You picked for me. Yeah. Okay.
I'm picking this one.
Okay. Blake says those red flags guys just blow hot air and change their takes every single week while pretending they've never strayed from whatever path they're on for those 5 seconds.
Honestly, we've been pretty consistent in our hatred for certain things and in our love for certain things.
The one area that we have leaned and been lenient on
Yeah.
is Esteban Ocon, and we have not been shy about that.
No, yeah. He had to earn it. We were very weary.
He's still earning it.
It's still earning it.
He's still earning it. But yes, thank you, Blake. You speak
Yeah.
our language, which is the language of truth
Yeah. Sometimes I
and
worry.
strength.
Sometimes I worry. What would happen if I ever did meet George Russell and he saw like reels that I had made?
He'd either
I'd be
be
like,
so flattered that we talk about him as much as we do, Or
I
be
just have
like,
to, I
you
just have
guys
to
are
stand my
dicks.
ground. I just stand my ground. I was like, well, be better.
Yeah. Quit being such a preppy
You have-
little punk.
You have every tool in your arsenal to be the coolest guy in the world, and you're dropping the ball.
And you're just like,
Have you seen the minifigs? It doesn't even look like me.
I need Toto to write to Lego, and we're gonna have a press conference so Toto can make a Lego minifig just like me.
Why did they even do it for that tree?
They made a car, but where's my horse for the dressage?
I can't deal with this. Did you hear that Cadillac took Tommy Hilfiger?
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, he's mad.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Adidas?
Yeah. I changed my profile so no one knew that I was racing for Cadillac.
Peasants wear Adidas.
Yeah, that is a German brand. And who likes the Germans?
George, you drive for Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Okay, we'll open another pack. Here we go. Get some ASMR.
What did you get? What'd you get? What is it? Ferrari? Ooh, good pull. Good pull. Okay, what do I got? Ooh, easy to spot. Easy to spot. Let's get the. It's fun to get the wing.
For those of you who
Heck
are wondering, I was definitely singing Space Truckin' by Deep Purple, and if you haven't heard that song, go listen to it. It's
Guy
amazing.
just pulled McLaren.
Oh,
Just pulled McLaren. Dude,
look
DR,
at Max
Daniel Ricciardo.
matching
What's
it up.
up?
Cut to him.
Cut
Camera.
to me. Cut to me, camera. Yeah,
There
check
it
it
is.
out. McLaren matching the shirt.
DR3. Sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
Very cool. Okay.
Looking the part.
50-50 chance.
Okay. Thanks, Max.
Here we go.
I reached blindly for the listeners.
Okay.
All right, here we go. The last.
These are fun little packages.
They are.
It's
I'm actually
exciting.
so excited.
Yeah.
Because now what we're going to do is we're going to talk nonsense while trying to build these.
It's going to sound terrible.
It's going to sound
We're
terrible,
gonna be
but
very
it's going to be
distracted.
very fun.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Another package.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
It's like it's a soda.
What do you think? What do you got?
It's got a tire.
Okay. Ooh, we know it's not.
It's a girl.
Kick Sauber.
Might be a girl actually was singing because they got like the F1 Academy. Oh yeah. Whoa.
What'd you get?
It's Alpine.
Well, you have to have a complete
Can't
set.
win them all.
Good thing you didn't open it first.
Yeah, that would have been
That's the
heartbreaking.
true miracle. Ooh, I
Heartbreaking.
think this is. I think I think I got Mercedes. Where's the wing? Where's the wing? Oh, is that the wing? It's got to be Mercedes, right? Look at this. Look at this color scheme.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, it's gotta be
he's got the
Mercedes.
Petronas.
Uh huh.
Mercedes.
Yeah,
AMG
exactly.
Petronas.
Crazy.
Formula One team.
Super fun.
Amazing.
There's no Lego. There's no. Oh, there's the Mercedes logo. There it is.
They left out pieces. Shrinkflation.
Cool. Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Super fun.
I love these.
Yeah.
And I have only bought one. And in fact, I'm not even the one that bought it. My wife found it.
Yeah.
And she brought it home from the store. She's like, look how cute this is.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that when they made these that they were going to be mystery packs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I saw like the pictures of the collection of them, but I didn't know that that's how they were marketing this.
Yeah.
And so I have a McLaren. That's the one
Very
that
cool.
I have. But anyways, I love these.
Well, we didn't get any duplicates,
No.
which is wild.
For 6 packs, we got
Yeah.
half of the set.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Well, thanks to friend of the show, Ty, for
Thank you,
sourcing this
Ty.
for us. Honorary producer of the day.
Yes.
Even though Kevin hooked us up with the camera when ours
Even
broke.
though
He didn't even get us minifigs.
No, but my camera is provided by Kevin today. So thank you for this angle today.
Okay.
Kevin's angle. Thank you.
All right. Get into some of the.
Sorry, I'll stop being
No, it's good.
embarrassed.
It's good. Guess what I started watching this weekend?
Oh.
I'm curious if you started watching.
Twilight.
I finally started watching Twilight.
What do you think?
Did you know that Bella was like kind of a loner?
Dude, she could have had puppies. I've been on this kick forever. Why would she choose a sparkly pale white dude that's like out in Italy, like trying to die,
Yeah.
when she could have had some freaking rad Washington State puppies as babies?
You're Jacob. You're Jacob
Oh,
fan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor Lautner all the way.
Dang.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
I didn't even see his Batman. Screw that movie.
Yeah. But
Man.
I saw Taylor Lautner's Batman. He did his own.
Yeah, it was called Spy Kids. Wasn't he in Spy Kids or
I
something?
don't watch the Spy Kids.
I
trilogy.
didn't either.
Yeah, sure you did. Okay. No, I watched. I started watching the Dale Earnhardt
Oh, that's
series on Prime.
and what have you thought so far? How far are you in?
I'm like 90% done with the first episode. I started pretty late and I was falling asleep and I didn't want to miss it, so I cut it and I was watching it with my roommate. And so we're gonna get back to it when my roommate wants to watch it when he has time. But no, it's cool.
It's I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
I've heard great things.
Cool.
Carlos, obviously, last week
Okay, yeah.
was speaking very highly of it, but I also know the story really well.
I was
so
gonna say I'm curious what you think of it, and you probably know everything already.
I haven't started it yet. I'm itching to.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many little nuances that I think that they'd probably do a really good job of displaying and helping tell, which is something that I'm very anxious to see.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So like his rookie year, he crushes it. He wins Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Almost won the championship.
Yeah, he did really well.
Crazy. And then he wins the championship his second year
Oh, in which sport though? The lower league?
in NASCAR.
In the lower league though, was it the blue car?
I don't know. It was
He, he never
it
won a
was
NASCAR championship. Never won a Cup Series championship. Are you talking about Dale Earnhardt Sr.?
Yes.
I'm thinking about Junior. My
No,
bad.
the Man in Black.
Yes,
the
the Man in
Intimidator.
Black. Okay, sorry. Whoa. Head spinning.
Okay.
I was like, Junior? Oh, sorry.
No,
but this series
Amazon
is really...
Prime did about the
yeah,
man.
but this series is very heavily still about Junior. So that's part of the reason why
Oh, is
you will
why?
get to that point.
I'll get to that point. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess so.
Yeah, you'll...
Yeah.
You give me that
Don't
glare
no
right now.
spoilers.
You give me that glare now.
I'm still
but
wondering why Dale Earnhardt hasn't been interviewed in this yet.
it's like
So
that's-
no spoilers.
It's like that Senna movie. Like, couldn't he have made a statement?
at least
Hey, come on.
at least done something.
Yeah, like, geez.
But no, Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
And his dad was a race car driver,
Correct.
which was kind of crazy.
Ralph, right?
Ralph, yeah.
Yeah.
See, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah. He wins Rookie of the Year. Then his championship is second year.
Yep.
And just
That
pretty
first
cool.
season, he was in contention for the championship, but he had an
Yeah.
injury. Yeah.
Oh, what was the injury?
He had a really bad wreck where I think he broke his arm in it. And then it took
Oh.
him a few weeks to kind of get back. And he was doing, and at that time it was kind of interesting, but in NASCAR, it wasn't really frowned upon to do what they were doing in 24 Hour of Le Mans. And the race wasn't as tight. So like,
What do you
there were-
mean? Do what they were doing?
So this is what but
Okay.
like the racing isn't as tight as it is now, where you're like even finishing remotely on the same lap.
Oh, okay.
Right. So what they would do is that if you were injured or you couldn't make it the whole race distance, which is part of the reason why Richard Petty was able to have a long career.
He has a little bit of a cameo in it.
Yeah, but they would switch drivers out during the race. They would have somebody who would come in and just do some laps for them so they could break,
Kind of keep the
have a water, and then
keep
like
what the distance
yeah.
going.
Yeah, so like during a pit stop, they would just trade drivers. But in this era, it was like the over the shoulder seatbelt. So it's not a very difficult change to
Yeah.
swap drivers in this time.
Oh man, it was fun. They'd talk about him just like leaning out of the window and kind of just like that's how Dale Earnhardt drove.
Yeah.
Just like outside.
But just like,
Yeah.
just such aggressive leaning that his helmet was like kind of exposed.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Nuts.
And I want to say there was a moment, and I could get this wrong, could be even the wrong driver, but he would point out people in the crowd and like wave to them or be like, hey, let those people know hi or whatever. And people are
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Just drive. But he'd be, I guess, so far ahead
That he would
or
just be,
so
like,
in the
look-
zone, he's
yeah.
like, there's nothing really going on.
Sounds like Fernando Alonso.
Yeah. It reminded me of like Stroll, being like him
nice
commenting
stick,
on Stroll.
nice stick over, nice overtake, Lance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good. I'm excited to get back and watch more of it because it's just getting exciting because he's getting further into his career.
I mean, yeah, he won 7 championships. Spoiler, lots of wins.
Yeah.
And one of the best dudes at it for sure. No, but I'm super anxious to watch it. But part of the reason why I think it is super like great is Dale Earnhardt Jr. is one of those voices in motorsport that I think is actually really great because he speaks for the fan and he speaks for the driver. Mm-hmm. And he's such a fan and he's so good at his craft that I think he balances it really well to be able to understand like where the spectator is and where the driver is. Mm-hmm. And there's some things that I think that NASCAR could learn from Junior but also F1 could learn from Junior, and like the things that we're hoping for as fans.
Yeah.
But also like what the drivers want for competition.
I just remembered it wasn't Dale Earnhardt. I listened to Wait, Don't Tell Me this weekend, and Jeff Gordon was the guest.
Oh, okay.
And they interview him a little bit about and they ask him funny stories about driving and things. And it was him who would notice people in the stands because he'd be so far ahead or just had a good lead.
Yeah.
And would just be noticing people.
Yeah, he's also a glass of milk, that guy. He's as stale and as boring as they come as
The
human
interview
beings.
sounded like it. I'll be honest.
I was a Jeff Gordon fan as a kid, and it like became so apparent to me that I was like, no wonder you were such the perfect sponsor-able race car driver.
He's not intimidating people.
You're just a blank
He's not nudging
canvas.
them and pushing them off the track.
No, he's
or
just
he was.
fast.
He's just fast.
And very marketable. It's like, oh, look at this clean cut, handsome boy.
From California.
Yeah, we could throw a DuPont logo on there, and he'll sell the crap out of it. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whereas Dale Earnhardt is a GM Goodwrench, the man in black.
Wrangler.
Yeah. Wrangler, the blue and yellow car is so
Pretty rad. And that's the car that Daniel Ricciardo drove in Texas.
Yes.
Which is
Zach
cool.
Brown owns it.
Zach Brown owns it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Cool connection there.
For sure. 100%.
Anyway.
Lots of respect. One of the things that I think is good about Zach Brown is where he advocates for America, like the things that he does, I am kind of like, okay, the Wrangler Earnhardt car, super dope.
Yeah.
The showing up at baseball games and throwing out the first pitch and stuff, also my other favorite sport. So Zach Brown and I think we agree on a few things.
Quick question before we move on. That Wrangler car, how fast was that going?
I mean, in those days, still like $180.
So yeah, honestly, it's still fast.
Yeah, and I think they could get upwards of 190, 200, but
That's crazy. It doesn't look fast.
No.
It looks like a crappy old Buick or whatever it is, Monte Carlo, but it just looks terrible.
Yeah. I mean, and
Doesn't look
they're not
fast.
aerodynamic.
No,
so
they're
like
big
what's
blocks.
sketchy about it is that you're driving that pile of bolts
Yeah.
going that fast. And it's like these days the
You look at the-
tires
you
are
look at a
rated for
NASCAR
speeds
now.
and
It's
all
like
that stuff.
everything. Yeah, they're stock cars, but they still look fast.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, I get it. That could
And
cruise.
like stock car is such a
Yeah.
funny term for
Uh-huh.
full cage and
yeah.
transaxles and things that the Chevy Camaro definitely does not have. There's not a sequential transaxle car or layout in that car at all. It's just either a V6 or a V8 POS. You heard it here first. Would not buy one of those. But
But that Wrangler car
I would
was
race
crazy.
a NASCAR and I would have a lot of fun.
It's true. Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Okay. That was my last bit.
So that's
Yeah,
cool.
Been
I
watching
feel
that. I'm excited for it.
totally.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely interested to hear what your take is when you're done.
Okay. I'll let you know. Okay. Moving on.
Yes.
We have some races coming up this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to get into that?
Yes. Should we start there?
Yeah. Let's start there.
The
Which
24
one?
hours of Le Mans,
Le Mans
also known as 24 hours of lemons. Do you know?
or Le Mans.
Squishy citrus fruit, as you might have heard of.
Oh, yeah. That's where they grow them.
No, they actually do a
do?
24 hour of lemons.
Oh, yeah. I know the 24-hour lemons.
And for our listeners who don't know it,
Yeah,
it is
let 'em know.
probably they need to televise it because it
Yeah,
is
why don't they?
genuinely amazing. But the whole premise of that is that you have to buy a car as cheap as you can.
They have like a price limit. You can't go over. And it's like $1,000.
It's like
at the
$1,500
most.
or
It's
something.
Pretty low.
And then you have to fit it with some safety features. You have to have like a fire extinguisher bolted in and a few things. But then you try to get that thing through a 24-hour race
yeah.
and have a team that switches off drivers. It's the most amazing event. We have to do it one of these years.
That's like one of the racing events where I think I could actually do it. Not because like driving skill, but also like financially.
yeah, right. It's
Yeah,
the
it's
one
like
that's
it's the dream of anyone who wants to race but doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be super fun.
so awesome.
Yeah.
I've had a few friends that have done it.
Really?
None of them have finished. Good mechanics too.
Yeah, geez.
It's just that's the way it goes.
What would be your dream car if you could find it underneath 1,000? Realistic dream car for
I mean, I
hours of
think
Le
that there
Mans.
was a period.
Lemon.
There was a period where the BMW E36, which is the successor to the E30, so it's the square headlight, a little bit bigger car.
Okay.
Really well balanced car as far as suspension layout and the engine and everything. but the 325s used to be really cheap. And that if they still are in that $1,500 mark, which I really doubt, and anyone who's listening to this would probably be like, no, they were never that cheap. They were that cheap at one stage. That would be a killer because those engines are so reliable.
Yeah.
And they're such good handling cars. So that would be my ultimate.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Radio. So
but-
24-hour lemons is this weekend.
Yeah. And Jensen Button is competing. Oh, sorry. Le Mans.
Okay. So
Yeah.
24-hour Le Mans.
24-hour Le Mans this week.
Yeah.
Ferrari going for a three-peat.
A three-peat. They've won it 2 in a row.
They've won back-to-back.
Shoot. What? Okay. That opens up a whole nother question of why can't they do it in F1?
Because...
Have they ever won both in the same year? Or do they have that curse? It's like if they're doing good in one, they're not doing good in the other.
That's a great question. I don't know. There's probably a time that there's been overlap, but Ferrari went through that really dominant period in the 1960s
That's true.
before Ford stepped in and disrupted it, and then Porsche went into utter dominance.
Yeah, they own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They owned Le Mans.
Yeah.
And France was like, this is Germany now. We had to stake their flag. They actually conquered it.
Germans took over France, and they were pretty pissed.
And they were like, every 20 years, those guys just show up here and stake their territory.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
But Ferrari's been pretty dominant.
they've been really good.
We went to the 24 Hours of Daytona a few years
Yes.
ago. Ferrari didn't win.
No, they didn't even participate. They haven't, which is lame.
So they'll participate in Le Mans,
Yes.
but not Daytona.
Yes.
Are there any other 24-hour races that are as like prestigious in that level?
Yes. So Spa,
They have a Spa 24 hours. Wow.
and I think they actually do a 24-hour Nürburgring as well,
Okay.
which is gnarly
Okay.
because the Green Hell. That's what they call the Nürburgring Nordschleife. It's just Green Hell because it is just the worst racetrack. Have you ever done it on a video game?
Yes. I got bored because it was so big.
It's so long.
Yeah.
It is so
I was like, how do
hard.
you memorize this track?
You don't, unless you're Max,
Yeah.
not you. Verstappen. But yeah, Kyle Marlin says that he's been a fan of the 24 hours for 23 years.
Oh.
You should have said 24 because like that would have been a really nice whole number. Sorry, I'm in marketing. I don't know if you've noticed, but yeah, just 24 hours for 24 years. It would be just a nice number. Anyway, he says 12 hours of Sebring is also incredible. So that, but that's here in the U.S. That's IMSA. But yeah, so and then they do endurance racing everywhere. So every track that they race is typically a 6-hour or a 12-hour or a 24-hour increment.
Okay.
And yeah, Kyle, I'm sorry, I'm kidding. You didn't need to lie. I don't mean to put you in that position. But yeah, endurance racing is amazing.
Yeah.
He said that Audi left the sport, and that's true. Audi had a really dominant period at Le Mans.
Okay.
But one of the things that's been really interesting, we talked about this probably last year or 2 years ago when we were talking about endurance racing, that there was a period where manufacturers would kind of step up and be like, we're going to do endurance racing.
Yeah.
But then there would be like Glickenhaus who's competing against them, not another OEM. So sort of like a Williams. It's like a race team that's building their own car to spec,
Okay.
but not Audi going head to head with like Toyota or Porsche or Mazda.
Oh,
It
so
went
you're saying there's
like-
like one big dominant manufacturer versus like a bunch of
Bunch of
purchaser
just-
teams or whatever. we
Yeah,
call those, like-
or teams that just design their own car, but they weren't
Okay.
OEMs.
yeah, it's hard.
And so it's like Porsche and Audi show up and wipe the floor,
yeah,
but they better.
they better.
They have a huge budget and
Tons
they're
of
an
heritage,
OEM.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So that's what's so cool about the hypercar class in WEC and they call it something different in IMSA, but that top class is that we have Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, BMW, Peugeot in WEC. Just like a lot of these OEMs are now fighting for that top rank.
Yeah,
And
which is exciting.
Yeah, so Toyota's in it. There's just so many teams punching for this title, and it's like probably the most saturated it's been in at least in my lifetime. So it is amazing.
That is exciting. There is a big draw from the OEMs to get into motorsport.
Yeah.
Because F1 is turning into the same thing.
Totally.
These like little teams are now starting to like dwindle away and get purchased and bought up and turned into Audi.
Right.
And yeah, whatever.
Sauber's been around for
Cadillac is coming
20,
in.
30 years, and
Yeah.
now they're becoming Audi.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of exciting
Right.
because I want to know which cars are the best.
Yeah.
And if
And
I'm
which
driving one of
engineers
those- yeah.
are proven they're the best engineers in the world.
Yeah,
That's
for
cool.
sure. That's got to be like, yeah, very competitive. It's got to be something you want to win.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Absolutely. Carlos just texted me. Let's see. Oh, he's watching baseball though. So
Why are you derailing the podcast?
I'm sorry. I thought it was gonna be relevant. But yeah, anyways, I think that the 24 hours this year is going to be something that's really worth watching. Because the other thing is too is that like, Porsche kind of came out of the gates doing really well.
Porsche won in Daytona.
Yes.
How have they been doing? I mean, obviously
They've done really well in WEC as well. But I think that when you get to this point where I think we're 3 years in with this hypercar class, maybe 4, everybody's kind of worked out the kinks and they're finding little ways to improve and get those micro adjustments that make massive differences, especially over 24 hours. And so you're going to see a bunch of cars that are really competitive. Yes, the Ferraris have been the best at Le Mans. And so they're going to somewhat push into the distance, but these other guys are catching them. It's like the regulations in F1. And so I'm like, I think we're going to have a really competitive year where there's not a blowout winner. I think it's going to be a really close fight down to the finish.
Cool.
Cadillac also participates in this. So the future F1 team is competing both in IMSA and in World Endurance Championships.
Very
so they will
cool.
be at 24-hour Le Mans.
That was fun. I would love to hear how that Ferrari sounds. Do you remember hearing that Cadillac
It
roar
is-
off into the distance in Daytona?
It was
Loud and deep and grumbly.
when a NASCAR goes by,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing experience. That Cadillac going past, I don't know a baritone like I know that one.
Yeah.
It rattled through my chest.
You can still hear it and feel it.
Yeah. It would go past, it would come up quiet,
Uh-huh.
and then it would go past it. It was like, it's like hit my left ear and out the right.
Yeah.
Just like,
And the Porsche would come by.
and it's just like,
yeah.
it was like the F1 cars because it's a turbo.
Yeah, and it was just kind of feeling like, oh, I love these two design philosophies. This American based off of a heritage of muscle cars and big engines and loud exhausts.
Yeah.
Then this like European efficiency.
Right.
It was kind of fun battle.
It totally was.
Yeah.
And that first year in particular, it came down to the last lap.
That was crazy.
And they
Yeah.
kind of threw the flag early, and we won't go there. Do you
Yeah.
remember that was like they white flagged before the clock hit 24
that's right. That
hours,
was
and everybody
weird.
was like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
And then the race was over.
Yeah.
It was very strange, but
But
can't take it away from him. It was official.
is Antonio Giovinazzi still driving for Ferrari?
Yep.
Do you think he is so stoked that he's driving for Ferrari?
Yeah, this is
in IMS like WEC or IMSA or whatever instead of for F1?
Dude, let's be real.
Yeah.
Do you want to have won Le Mans or do you want to write piano music? Because those are your two options.
Do you want to be arguing with a pouty engineer on the radio, or do you want to have multiple Le Mans championships under your belt?
That's where Lewis Hamilton is right now. I
Yeah.
feel like Charles isn't even thinking about it, but with like Lewis,
It's all Charles knows.
Right.
He doesn't know what's better out there.
He only knows.
Lewis knows what's better.
Yeah, he only knows cabinet under the stairs, 23 Dunsford Street.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Harry Potter reference.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boy who lived. So that's all I know.
Yeah.
But good gracious. I if I'm Antonio Giovinazzi and I'm like, I really missed my shot in F1, not even thinking about it anymore. Who
Yeah.
cares?
I think that's rad.
Very accomplished race car driver now with a couple
We forget
of Le
about
Mans
Antonio
under.
Giovinazzi.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's cool.
super rad.
Question for you. I asked it before the podcast, and I don't know, maybe you or some of our listeners can answer
Verify.
the question. Who's that MotoGP driver? Rider?
Valentino Rossi.
And what do you call a MotoGP driver?
Rider.
It's a rider.
Yes.
Is he driving in the 24 Hours of Le Mans?
And I believe he's racing for BMW, but I can quickly verify or deny.
That's crazy.
Yes.
How often do you get MotoGP riders becoming drivers in other motorsport?
So this,
Because I don't think there's anyone driving in motorsport going to MotoGP.
that
That seems like a crazier, harder discipline.
So back in the day, though, like people like Jackie Ix, and Jackie has the most punk rock French name. It always just sounds so rad. It's like, what's your last name? Ix. Like ICKS or ICKX. It's just like Jackie Ix is like
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
pretty rad.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like Jackie Ix was a motorbike rider. That was his thing.
Okay.
And he transferred to cars. And then he won with Porsche, he won with Ford.
Oh, wow.
And kicked so much butt. And he F1 driver as well. So he did it all.
Crazy.
Yeah, Jackie Ix is legendary.
Yeah.
But let me see what he is.
That's like Bo Jackson going from baseball to football. Yeah, it's wild. Two completely different sports.
Yeah, you're like,
It's one thing for Alonso to go from F1 to IndyCar and like endurance or whatever. But like going to Motor GP, that's crazy.
yeah, totally. He's racing in a. Wait, hold on.
Don't worry. There's no rush. No, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's driving a BMW M4 GT3 Evo.
Crazy.
So he's going
That's
to be in
fun.
one of the, not the like hypercar class, but like one of the GT car classes.
And he's like the Lewis Hamilton of MotoGP, right?
Yeah, he's up there with like legendary status, but
Yeah.
he's up there with Mick Doohan and Mark Marquez and some of these other names have like very dominant, prominent figures in MotoGP.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But Lewis and him did a thing where they switched. And
Oh.
Lewis rode Valentino's bike and
Oh, wild.
Valentino drove the Mercedes, which was a cool thing.
Yeah.
And like Lewis is pretty fast on a bike, but like one of the things that Lewis was like, they talked about the differences. A MotoGP bike brakes really fast, but not F1 car fast.
Okay.
Right. And
It's not as
so-
delicate as an F1 car.
Right. So, because I mean, a motorcycle has a lot less weight to stop. It's you and the bike.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still not like it doesn't have a front wing on it. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
like
There's
really
nothing to like, yeah.
so much planted downforce in a car versus a bike. So they're just talking about picking braking zones and how that was so different for each of them to kind of really dial in and figure out. But yeah, anyways, it's not that uncommon for some of the crossover talk to be present, but yeah, definitely in the modern age, not as common
Yeah. Crazy.
to like take place.
Super cool. Anything else with the 24-hour Le Mans?
I mean, we've got Jensen Button
Yeah.
participating. He is racing for Cadillac.
Yeah.
And there's a handful of other guys. I think that Mick Schumacher's racing for Peugeot,
Cool.
or Alpine.
Peugeot, are they good?
I forget which one. He was racing for Alpine, but he might have switched to Peugeot.
Does Peugeot have a sports car?
No, it's a hypercar. They built like a really gnarly hypercar.
But like just like consumer market, do they have a sports car? I just imagine them being
they
like
do. Well, they have like
tiny little grocery cart,
Here's my ignorance for the time
like
being.
family little cars.
I don't know the
in
answer to
France.
this fully right now.
Yeah.
I feel like if you would have asked me at the peak of Top Gear, I probably would have known.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they definitely still make like a GTI type of car, like
Okay.
a competitive to the hatchback,
Gotcha.
fast hatchback market. I think they do have some performance cars, but yeah, the bulk of their market is going to be pretty
Commuter cars.
commuter car, pretty
Little safe
businessman
cars.
car. Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Well, that's cool. Peugeot is in the race.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and their car's gnarly looking.
Nice.
They did if nothing else, their car looks rad. Historically hasn't been super fast so far, but it's really cool looking.
Do they give out trophies for like best livery?
I feel like in
They
some
should.
ways I kind of wish
Because
they
they have a
did.
little parade.
Yeah.
When we were in Daytona,
Yeah.
all the drivers walk beside their car and they have a little parade.
Yeah.
You'd think they could also get a little trophy for best looking.
They do this before Le Mans in France.
Okay.
And it is unbelievable. It's so because it's just like
do you
come
mean?
on. Like here's the parade of the drivers walking down pit lane at Daytona and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, here we are in a field in Florida.
Yeah.
you know?
That was the vibe.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
like, but the walking down the streets in France.
Are they actually in like in a little city street?
And it's like
Oh, that's huge.
cobblestone roads
It's
with
an actual-
like
it's
the
an actual
Ferrari
parade.
hypercar, and you're like, this is so rad,
Okay.
and it is so pretty and so cool.
I get that.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Baguettes are flying in the air.
yeah.
Everyone's wearing berets.
Au revoir, Pee Wee.
Pee Wee Herman's there on a bike.
I want my bike. That's my Peugeot.
That's pretty good.
So, anyways, yes,
Cool.
super rad.
All right. Well, besides 24-hour Le Mans,
Yes.
We have the Canadian Grand Prix coming up.
Montreal.
Let's dive into the world of F1.
Yes, back to our roots.
Back to our roots. We talked about the little F1 Lego cars, but that's about all we've talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Say, McLaren's leading the championship. There's only 8 points between Oscar and Lando.
Yeah, it's close.
It's really close.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought Oscar had a little bit more of a lead. That's just how it feels.
Right.
Because if you feel out the championship, you're like, yeah, Oscar's going to win.
Right.
Yeah.
But Max has snatched the occasional win.
Yeah.
And that
Max isn't out of it.
And that Australian debacle with just unluckiness. I'm not going to call that a skill issue. Oscar sliding off and not getting back on as quickly as Lando did was not Oscar's fault. That was a lucky thing.
Yeah.
But if he had finished better in Australia, I think it would have been not as close. Mm-hmm. But those are really the only 2 instances, or the 3 instances, I guess, this year that I can say Oscar's had any kind of trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really close.
Really close. So this will be a fun race.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it's getting good. I think it's now getting to the point where you can see Oscar and Lando. They're gonna start hating each other,
Right.
if they don't already.
Right.
And those those cool down rooms are gonna get more awkward, and I'm gonna love it so much more.
Right.
And then when Max is in the mix, these cool down rooms are just gonna get weird.
No, it's
When they're all gonna win.
Max is going to turn into what was my favorite period of Sebastian Vettel. And I think the phase that everyone learned to love that guy.
Yeah.
Which is when it was just between Nico and Lewis. Sebastian was just there for comic relief.
That's how he feels. He's a buffer.
Yeah.
He's just like cutting the tension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would just do like the interviews with the guys who finished first, second, and third, and Sebastian would just sit there and just poke him and just try to piss Lewis off or just try to piss off Nico. And it was so good. It was so funny. But yeah, Max has the opportunity to kind of play that role now. And I think he's actually perfectly suited for it, to be
That'll
honest.
be good.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Another quick little thing is it's Haas's 200th race this week, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We already talked a little bit about their livery, but that's amazing.
200 races with our boys.
Yeah. That's impressive for like one of the only teams left that seems to be privately owned.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alpine doesn't feel privately owned. They're not, right?
No, they're public, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like Aston Martin's been bought up. Williams is now not like the Williams anymore.
No, it's Doralton Capital.
So
Capital. Ugh.
it's great. I think they're going to keep going well. Like,
Yeah.
I want them to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And,
have everything
it's-
going for them.
They're proving so much that they deserve to be there. But I love that, like, it's advancing forward. Again, like Ayao Komatsu, the Toyota partnerships, some of the stuff that's happened over the past few years.
Yeah.
I'm excited as the season moves on and how we move into the next regulation
Yeah.
again.
Because it was like in the first season of the second season when Romain Grosjean got like their highest, was it podium, like fourth?
Yeah, fourth is the
Fourth.
highest. Yep.
Yeah. And it's feeling like this season and the progress that we're making, it's feeling like we're going to be able to like get that fourth again and then like surpass it.
Yeah.
And that's such a good sign for a team that is so like independent.
Yeah.
So like low budget.
Totally.
We used to be like, do you remember the horrible era of Nikita Mazepin? It was awful. They were minutes behind
Try to forget
18th
it.
place.
Try to forget it.
It was crazy. But then like Gunter got us through. Ayo Komatsu is now cruising. And like we are just like slowly, now we're fighting in the mid pack.
Right.
You would never guess that team 3 years ago, 4 years ago would be fighting in the mid pack and then like threatening podiums.
Right.
Which is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking like someone has a comment.
We've got a couple of them, but
Yeah.
Kyle asked if we're already crowning Oscar, and yes. Yeah, we crowned Oscar after race 3.
I'm wearing my Australian driver McLaren shirt. It's Daniel Ricciardo.
We're just
but
manifesting.
the spirit of Daniel Ricciardo now lives in Oscar.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But and then Blake said that we just need to get the FIA out of Ollie's way. And I just think that that's in general, the FIA we've talked about this. They seem to hate Haas
They do, yeah.
and like the meatball flags and all that stuff that they were doing to Kevin Magnussen. And Kevin Magnussen seemed to just be on their radar in general because I don't feel like they did it to Nico Hulkenberg nearly as much.
No, Kevin was just like, yeah,
He was
punching
getting it
back
all
for
the
the
time.
FIA for
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, I feel like we're hopefully moving past that phase where it won't be so prominent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're but here's something that I want to talk about though.
Yeah, what's
I'm
up?
gonna shift gears for us.
Okay, that's easy.
Is this whole thing that's going on with Lance Stroll
Okay.
A soft exit.
Okay. A quiet quit.
A start. You make him sound like a programmer here in Utah with a quiet quitter.
He's quiet quitting Aston Martin.
But like really though, I'm starting to wonder
You think? Keep going.
if this like supposed injury, miss a race debacle is something to kind of be like, this is the story, this is the narrative we can build, that you have a long-term injury to make it so it's not embarrassing that you were fired, that the team was officially done.
Yeah.
Waiting for you to be able to match Fernando.
This is a big long-term conspiracy to save Lance Stroll's face.
Right. And that at this stage, this is a save face. Let's get you out of here so Max can come to the team.
Oh.
So George can come to the team. So anyone who might fill in that second seat. And as much as I don't think that George is the right fit, we do know that George and Fernando somehow are friends. So there is even some dynamic of maybe Fernando's nudging and being like, no, George is good. I wouldn't mind him as a teammate.
Jeez.
So, but
Makes me question Alonso. Alonso's taste.
Alonso's judgment is brought into question deeply.
This is interesting. I mean, like, I have wondered, when are we going to get Lance out of the sport?
Right.
Everyone's wondered that. He's stayed in for so
a
long.
decade.
Well, obviously, it's like his dad bought the team for him.
Right.
You can't get him out of the seat, especially when he's, I mean, we've talked about it before. He's been like the best of the billionaire boys that have bought their way into a seat. You compare him to like Latifi. Latifi sucked.
Yeah. Mazepin,
Yeah, Maz's been awful.
not even on the radar.
Yeah.
Right.
Lance Stroll at least can get out of Q3 every once in a while. He can at least land in the points, like,
Depending on the racetrack.
and he's gotten a podium.
Right.
So, like, you can't say he's the worst, but
Right.
compared to all the other drivers that are now competing, it's getting harder for him to stay in the sport.
It's harder to justify when there are
Justify.
less of the
Yeah.
billionaire boys.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And this is, I mean, if this is real, I hope it's real.
Right.
I hope they can, like, who's their reserve driver? Who could they get mid-season?
They have a few, but the problem that they were facing is that so many of them had commitments for Le Mans.
Oh.
And so if he doesn't race in Montreal, which I've read reports that he is going to, but it is his home race.
Would he want to end in his home race?
Right. It does seem like he'd want to do that, but the reality was that if he wasn't fit to race, that Felipe Drugovich and some of the others were not going to be available. And then the rumor was that Valtteri Bottas was
Kind of
putting himself in the running as eligible because Mercedes, same power unit, kind of super sub type
and
of
he's
type of
solid.
deal. Yeah.
Valtteri's solid. I think this goes back to what I said either last podcast or the podcast before, that I'm starting to question how good either of those drivers are. I want to see the actual performance of the car.
Right.
And if all it is Lance Stroll and Alonso and the car's not performing well, I'm starting to think, like, is Alonso too old and Lance Stroll's not good enough? Could Valtteri Bottas or an equivalent new younger driver get like better performance out of that car and start landing it in the points consistently?
There's a
on the
wild
podium?
rumor that even Valtteri is an option for Red Bull right now. But that's
Serious?
it's just because it's a Sergio Perez situation with Yuki Tsunoda.
How about Red Bull
I
just
know,
stop?
I know.
How about they just stop?
the best part is
the
that
FIA is going to have a new regulation where you can only have one driver switch per year. That would be insanity.
I knew that if I mentioned this, that you would get that revved up, and it would be like my mistake for mentioning it.
I can't believe that there are people running that team.
We're all that triggered
Yeah.
though by every single move
It
that
is
Red Bull makes.
such PTSD with
It's
Red Bull.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stop freaking changing drivers. It's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
And
Gosh,
like Yuki's everyone's like, he's scored less points than Sergio did in this same time. And it's like, oh my gosh.
When we all
stop.
just know that the car's not built for anyone else but Max.
Yeah.
And let that other driver just drive.
Just let him
Because
try
there's
to
no
get
one
a
else.
point.
There's literally no one else.
And at this stage, don't ruin Isaac Hadjar's career. Don't call back Liam Lawson, because why?
Yeah.
It's and who else are you gonna call? Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna call in Valtteri Bottas for what? Just so
Yeah.
that way he can come in and not drive Max's car.
Yeah, and then he has a pathetic end to his career.
Yeah.
Failing in the last of the grid again.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
And I mean, if Valtteri wants to be number one at that team when Max leaves, I can see that being a move.
Yeah.
But there's the likelihood of that being the case is still like, I don't see Christian or Red Bull being like, yeah, we're gonna put all of our eggs in the Valtteri Bottas basket either.
Yeah. That makes me so mad. But another thing, did you see that Sebastian Vettel
Yes.
completed some sort of Harvard
Yes.
management
In
course
media.
and in management?
Yeah.
One, people are thinking it's a big deal.
Right.
To side note, he's a gajillionaire with free time on his hands.
Look, what else are you going to
How
do?
hard is it to go to Harvard when you have millions of dollars and nothing else to do?
I know he has 3 kids. I don't
And-
care how many dollars you have. That is expensive and hard.
How many nannies can you buy? And those kids are probably in Germany.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There's probably some truth to that.
Anyway, I'll just say that I'm like,
No, but-
let's not upplay this accomplishment.
Yeah.
Let's downplay it.
Let's
but
downplay
also, people are then saying, the rumors are that he's going to replace Helmut Marko because Helmut's like, the only person I want replacing me is Sebastian Vettel.
But is it Helmet or is it Christian?
Ooh, because Christian's going to go to Ferrari and save them.
We've already, if you've seen my reel,
Yeah.
a clear take on this one.
Yeah.
Bad idea. Bad idea. But I also could say that there's a good chance that Christian is out.
Really?
I mean, if he loses the support of the Thai side of the company because the team's not performing and Max is the only one who can compete in that car, then yeah, he's on the chopping block, just like anybody else. And this is the difference between Toto Wolff and Christian Horner.
Yeah.
Toto Wolff has 33% of his F1 team. Christian Horner is an employee.
Ooh, that's rough.
And that is how the cookie crumbles. If he doesn't perform, there's the door.
It's been impressive, though, that he's held on to that position for the whole lifetime of Red Bull racing.
Even through the dominant period of Mercedes.
Yeah. I mean, but they've been so volatile lately, and that's because drivers have just been sucking.
Blake says Christian to Ferrari and Hamilton to Haas.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say no to Lou Dog.
No.
But I'd want him to take Esteban's seat and be encouraging to Ollie.
Yeah, we need 2 Brits.
Yeah.
I don't think Ollie can understand Esteban.
None of
So
us.
what mentorship is happening?
None of us can.
None of us can.
He's too tall and smug.
And too French. He can't speak English.
He speaks really clear English. It's the worst criticism we've had of Esteban so far.
That would be interesting. I just clean house at Red Bull. Just clean out the leadership.
It seems like
Put Sebastian in there.
I mean,
Put
they don't
Daniel
even-
Ricciardo in. Can you make Red Bull cool again?
Yeah.
Sebastian team principal, Daniel head of whatever Marco's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mischief. That's all he's doing.
Could you imagine just the culture shift?
Be
Like
so
the
rad.
5 a.m. text message from Helmut Marko is actually from Daniel. And it's just like, how you going? As opposed to just whatever Helmut says.
You got a seat at Red Bull, bro. Yeah. Dude,
Got a shoe before you. Ready? Come drink out of my shoe. But
That's
yeah.
the initiation.
Yeah. Gotta drink out of Daniel's shoe.
You want a seat at Red Bull? Drink out of the shoe.
Gotta drink Red Bull out of my shoe. So gross.
So there's hope. There's hope for Red Bull.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely.
it's bleak right now.
It's not looking too great.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean,
All to say, Canadian Grand Prix.
I love this race.
Yeah, why?
I mean, again, we talk about it every year.
We talk about it every year.
The Sebastian Vettel switching the bollards for first and second on Lewis in Parc Ferme was the most epic freaking thing I've ever seen. But also, this racetrack does just have a little bit of jeopardy.
This is the racetrack that has that wall of death, right? What do
Yes,
they call it?
the Wall of Champions.
Wall of Champions.
Yep.
It's
Because
just a big wall at a really hard chicane.
it's the last turn.
And people crash right into it.
Yep. It's the last turn. So when it's like, especially in qualifying, trying to extract everything to get to the finish line and get the best time possible. I think Kevin Magnussen crashed in front of Roman or the other way around a few years ago. And it was like red flag qualifying. They both got knocked out because of it. And it was like, damn it. But yeah, Wall of Champions has claimed all of the best, which is why they call it that. It's not just the people who suck. It's
Yeah.
everyone who's good.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that like this track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it rains frequently too. So
Which
we
is-
usually get a little bit of variety in that sense.
Which is fun. We haven't had a lot of variety in a few races.
yeah, it's been dry for the last little bit. Threats of rain, but nothing actually producing. So I think we could do another wet race.
Yeah.
Especially now that we've got like some regulation change, the flexi wing stuff.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how that does well and
Yeah.
does or doesn't do well in the rain.
Do we think McLaren's just going to take off into the distance again?
You know,
I think Ferrari. We'll talk about Ferrari in a bit.
yeah. I mean,
If I was to make a prediction, an
Yeah.
honest prediction, I would put Oscar for both pole position and the race win,
yeah.
and that seems safe.
Yeah, and I feel like last year Lando kind of struggled at Canada, if I remember right. So I do think that Oscar would be the best pick for who to predict.
Yeah,
And again, it's not one of those Monaco, Suzuka types where I don't think that Red Bull's going to perform very well. I do think this is going to be playing heavily into McLaren's favor. So I do think they're going to have a strong car this weekend, and maybe Ferrari performs well.
Yeah.
which bodes well for us.
Yeah.
the Haas team. So maybe we get points finishes.
that'd be cool.
So maybe we'll put that as my predictions. Haas points,
Yeah,
double points. I'm
That'd
going
be
to go
awesome.
further.
yeah.
Double points for Haas and Oscar win.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I believe in that.
You believe?
I think Lewis is going to get angry at his his race engineer.
It's a fair assumption.
Yeah, that's a big easy at bat right there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Adami and Lewis will fight.
Jeez.
Yeah.
How long do you think that guy's going to hold on to his job?
Adami?
Yeah.
I mean, I think if he makes it to summer break, I'll be amazed.
Really?
If he makes it to summer break, Lewis cancels his contract and says, I'm retiring.
Yeah.
Like, I legit don't think he'll do it.
Really?
So we'll see.
We'll see. That's a bold prediction.
That is my bold prediction.
Um,
Stand behind it. Unlike the Red Flag podcast, I said it. I'm calling him out. We're beefing, even though you guys don't even know who I am. But we're beefing.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah. That's great. Shoot, I feel like it's hard to predict anything else because I think Williams and Alpine and sometimes Aston Martin, everyone's getting good. Racing Bulls,
Right.
everyone's
Racing
now
Bulls have been
jumping
solid.
up into the mid pack. Haas had some really great races in the early part of the year where they were like pulling ahead, and now all the other teams are getting their stuff together, and now they're looking very competitive.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know who else to kind of like push for besides Haas, and that's why I'm Haas boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, what are my odds? Probably not great, but I don't care.
yeah.
We're cheering for Haas. Double
We've
points.
been through the Mazepin era. We can make it through the Ocon
We can make
era.
it through the Ocon era.
Easy.
Way less villainous. Way less.
Okay.
Awesome. But do we have any listener questions or anything this week?
No, we don't.
Just
Sam,
listener contribution.
yeah, listener contribution. Sam sent me a picture of a Red Bull employee. So this actually was a Red Bull listener question.
Okay.
It comes from listener of the show, Sam. If you remember Sam from last season and previous seasons.
Also known as Max's brother, if anyone hasn't picked up on this.
we keep our listeners vague so they think we have a big audience. These aren't just family members.
They're not family.
No one's sending questions in from family.
Carlos Amezcua?
We don't know him.
You don't know him. He was just a guest.
Emmy Award winning news anchor who likes the show. Okay, the question is, who is this guy? And if you aren't seeing, I will maybe hold it up to the camera. Oh.
I mean, he looks like Adrian Newey's like Padme double.
It's Kroger brand Adrian Newey.
Yeah,
it's off brand.
Keira Knightley's position for Natalie Portman to protect
to
Adrian.
stand in. Yeah. Now he sent me that. It looks like a Red Bull employee.
Maybe.
And he said, "Do you know who this is?" And I was like, "It looks like Adrian Newey, but it's not. Like Adrian Newey does have more hair.
Kroger brand.
Yeah, it's very off-brand Adrian Newey. We'll put this
Generic.
I don't know. We'll put this somewhere.
Yeah, we'll put it on the web on it. Maybe we'll put it on an Instagram reel.
But it's a nasal product where it like opens up your nasal passages so you can breathe.
Yeah.
And he said he was watching a commercial and this guy was using it, and I was like, I don't know who that is. But it was a good question.
Yeah.
I think we finally stumped Mike on an
I'm
F1
stumped.
question.
I'm sorry, I don't know who that guy is.
You don't know who a random fan is?
I don't know.
Wearing a Red Bull like jacket with a nasal strip on his
Yeah,
nose.
I don't think he's a Red Bull
Who
player.
looks like someone like drug Adrian Newey behind a truck for a couple miles.
Yeah,
It's kind of what it feels like.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's our listener question. For
Okay,
the
but
week.
thanks
Pretty
for
weak.
submitting that question.
Pretty weak.
I mean, you
Yeah.
know, I still enjoyed that question.
Pretty weak. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. How many minutes do we have left? What are we at?
We're at an hour, so we.
Oh, good. This is the
so-
perfect thing to end with.
Yes.
And I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast because I think about it internally a lot.
Okay.
And maybe we've talked about it in person.
Okay.
But on the podcast, I wanted to bring it up. Do you struggle watching movies as a car guy whenever a prop car is on screen and all you can focus on is that car
Yeah.
because it's a good car?
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
There's like, okay, I didn't know if I'm like,
Oh,
is
yeah.
this a car guy thing?
Oh, it's a no. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was watching a clip from Blue Valentine. It's like a
Okay.
pretty heart wrenching, I don't know, like rom com. It's just a rom. I don't even know if it's a com.
It's just a ROM.
But there's a scene he's talking, and in the background there's this Volvo 850 wagon, and I can't hear anything that's going on. I was like, can we just get a camera around that car? Like,
we-
please?
Can you pull focus,
Can you
please?
like widen the shot? Widen the shot. Or any other movie. It'll just be
man.
like a random movie, and all of a sudden in the background there's this like really nice 911. I'm like, okay, wait. Just
Condor Man.
see, but that's not a car movie.
It isn't. What it is. Because there's nothing but black 930s in it. Come on. No, but
But yeah,
you
I
don't-
wonder if you do that. If you do that,
Oh,
like I
all
do
the
it now.
time.
Yeah.
I did it on New Girl.
Oh yeah.
Jessica Day drives an old Volvo wagon. Nick Miller has an AE86 Hachiroku Corolla. Yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah. I'm like, the car selection in that
Yeah.
show is ridiculous.
If anyone in the chat has a favorite like moment where they've noticed a cool car in a show,
Yeah.
like start writing.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. He has an AE86.
Yeah, he has an old Corolla Hachiroku. It's
that's
amazing.
crazy.
But the other things are too that like the ones that you get
Yeah.
that are funny or like the Japanese car community is like JDM culture. Mm-hmm. Man, they know the actual car. They know who owns it and everything. Like when a JDM car comes up in a movie, they're like, "Oh, that's this guy's and it's here and blah blah blah." But one of my favorites is that in Karate Kid 2,
Yeah.
which we talked about recently. I'm going to bring it back up. Glory of Love. We're back. We're back. Karate Kid 2, they had a Prince. I forget the name of the model, but they had a Prince like 4-door. It wasn't the Skyline, I don't think.
Prince.
A Prince. So do you know the story of the Nissan Skyline? I'm going to have to give you the short version.
Fast and the Furious. Okay, short
So
version.
fast. So Prince was the original Japanese company that made an inline 6 sedan,
Okay. They're okay.
and they produced a car called the Skyline.
Okay.
And it was a rocket ship for its time because
Okay.
most Japanese cars were 4 cylinders.
Okay.
And they freaking wiped the floor with everyone at the Japanese Grand Prix, and everyone wanted to buy one. And so Nissan acquired Prince to own the
okay.
rights to the Skyline.
Cool, quick history. I like it.
So that's how that all went down.
Okay.
There's a Porsche 904 that's rolled into that story. We'll get there someday, and I'll tell the whole thing.
Okay.
But for this compact version, Prince, they imported a Prince to Hawaii to shoot Karate Kid 2 for Okinawa.
Oh,
That
okay.
car's still in Hawaii.
Whoa, it never left.
It never left. And so
Wow.
like JDM car fans are like, where did that car go? Who's the collector that has
Whoa,
it?
it's a mystery.
Yeah, so there's like some cool little things like that in movies and the car culture of
Do you
trying
think
to
it's
like
still there?
Oh yeah, it's still there.
How do you know?
Because then why would they import it to just take it back?
Well, why don't you think some producer or some person that worked on the movie
Shipped it to the States?
Yeah, is
Do you know
now
how
dri-
expensive that would be?
I mean, if you had
You'd
a
have
connection,
you'd have to be the executive producer.
Yeah.
And we're talking about guys who made Karate Kid. You think they gave a crap about a
it
Japanese
was
car?
the sequel. The budget was high. They got Peter Cetera.
Yeah. They got Peter Cetera. They got David Foster.
Ralph Macchio.
They got Ralph Macchio Bach.
You can't get Ralph Macchio for cheap.
And this wasn't shot in Encino. This one was shot in Hawaii, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's different.
Yeah, there was big money, and maybe a lot of that went to getting that car out secretly.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe.
Or I wonder.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. It'd be fun to do a series of the mysteries of cool cars.
Yes.
That'd be
and
cool.
maybe a series about how I know way too much about how certain car models came to be.
I thought you were gonna say way too much about Karate Kid too.
Oh yeah, well that too.
But that's cool too.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I would be curious if any other car heads out there just watch random sitcoms. The one that's really fun to watch is Seinfeld. Because
yeah.
he's a car guy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't throw in crazy expensive cars into the sets or like the cut scenes or whatever. But it's like, if you know, like Saabs like Volvos,
Yeah.
like weird little like
Oh,
Hondas.
and there's the famous Porsche 930 jump photo on the wall
yeah.
on the Seinfeld set. That is a Jeff Zwart photo. Jeff Zwart was a Pikes Peak winner.
Okay, crazy.
So he was a Porsche race car driver and a photographer.
yeah,
And so, anyways, more fun history.
so cool.
But
Yeah, it's an interesting thing watching movies now and pausing it.
yeah, it's
or
a
just
disease.
being mad.
It's a
Yeah.
disease.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay. Anyway.
Awesome. Well, subscribe, Max, do this thing so I can stand up and turn on the
Okay. Yeah.
end screen.
Well, thanks for joining the podcast, everyone. Thanks for watching live. Thanks to everyone who commented. Feel free to share, subscribe if you're out there, and then send in listener questions because we answer them, even if they're just pictures of old men, and they ask us, "Who is this?" We appreciate it. Anyway, thanks again. See ya.